Hello, and welcome to my annual Thanksgiving video / Indigenous Remembrance Day. I usually pick this day to do something just positive and happy. Normally it's my all-time favorite books or favorite authors or favorite series. And this year there was a whole plan, like a whole elaborate project, vlog thing. And I lost most of it in the great hard drive crash. And I also just hadn't gotten through as much of it as I'd planned because my reading habits have changed dramatically. So instead of that, I thought that we would use this occasion to do kind of my favorite 5-star reads since I started Booktube. Or not my most recommended, or the best, maybe the best, that's probably the right phrasing. The best books I've read since I started Booktube. And it'll be sort of a combination of that and an audit of my 5 stars, because I can kind of get a sense of if there are any unifying themes, if there's anything I should take forward into other books that I pick to read, all that good stuff. So let me do a quick screen share, and I have pulled, so I'm running this from 2017 to 2023, because those are the full years that I have been on Booktube. I decided to exclude my 2024 ones just because I think that it's hard for me to have real perspective on things that I've read this year. Even some of the 2023 ones, I was like, do I really have enough perspective to opine on this? But I think part of what, even in just pulling the list, I am realizing is really when I rate something 5 stars, it's more of a guess. It's more of this is a book I like so much that I think it is going to become a favorite. And sometimes that pans out and sometimes it doesn't. I think a lot of the times it does, and we'll get into that when we look at these. But sometimes things that I thought were going to be all-time favorites, I don't really think of that way anymore. So that's part of also what we will reflect on. Which of these should have been, well, actually, let's just hit record and we can get into it. So I'll show you my categories. So I have 4 categories for these 41 books, and that is top 5 stars. So this is where I want us to end. The best books. These are the best books I've read since I joined Booktube. Top 5 best. True 5 stars are all-time favorites, but if I had to rank them, they wouldn't be, okay, now the gimbal just went cockeyed for no reason. I hope this will work. Since I'm down here in the corner, I think that this will be fine. I'm sorry. Now that I think I've gotten my hard drive situation sorted out, I'll be filming on my actual camera again. But it's been tough technology times here in the Likewell household, but that's not the focus of this video. Okay, so let's get into this. So I have no idea why the gimbal went all crazy, but top 5 stars are the ones that I think are the actual best. So if I have to pick 5, these are the 5 best ones. Then we have true 5 stars, which are true favorites, things that I genuinely would consider a favorite still, and I was correct in assuming that as the rating. Prob's more like 4.5. So 4.5 for me is a best of the year. It's the only distinction between a 4.5 and a 5 is 5 I consider to be an all-time favorite, and 4.5 is sort of the equivalent. I give it 5 stars on Goodreads. It's for all intents and purposes a 5-star, except I'm not saying it's an all-time favorite. And there's some of these that I think in the moment I thought would be all-time favorites, and now I would say we're more just like favorites of the year. And then WTF was I thinking is specifically here for one book, and there may be other ones that go in there, but one book and one book alone, I was like, I have no idea what I was smoking the day that I gave this 5 stars. So here we go. Okay, so Broken Girls by Simone St. James, I think is not only a true 5-star, but is a candidate for a top 5-star. It's one of my all-time favorite mysteries. I'd probably put it in my top 25 to 50-ish books ever. So I think it's definitely in contention. Audit by Roxane Gay is a short story collection. It's one of my all-time favorite short story collections. So I would say it's a true 5-star, but I don't think that it's one of the best books I've read out of all of these. I'm going to say Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins is another that's in contention to be a top 5. It's on the bubble. I could see, I would put I don't know. I think if it's similar to Broken Girls, if it is truly one of my all-time favorite genre pieces, and it's also a book that's very distinctive. I can't think of a ton of books that do what it does and do it well. There is one book that it's often compared to, but I think that book is not good. So I'm going to say it's in contention. How to Be Safe by Tom McAllister. I think that this was probably more like a favorite of the year. I would say it's one of my favorite lit fic kind of novels I've read in recent years, but I don't know that it really is an all-time favorite. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Stamped from the Beginning is definitely a true 5-star. Is it a best? No, because I wouldn't want to put, I know which one that I think is definitely in the best, and I wouldn't want to put 2 books that are doing similar things. There's 3 books that are similar to this, but it's a nonfiction history of essentially like racism against Black people in America, and it's very good. I believe that there's been some controversy around the book, but I haven't done any clicking in to see what that is. So if there's something wrong with this book, like if there's been some scandal that things in it are not correct, let me know. Or if there's some, maybe it was the author, I don't know. Anyway, feel free to fill me in on the tea. I'm not aware of it, but I would still say, as of what I know right now, it's a true 5-star. But I'm not going to put it in contention because there's at least 1 or 2 others I think should go over it. Sleeping Murder is another, would I say it's the best? I was going to put it in the true, no. Okay, I'm going to say it's a true 5-star, but not a best, because I think that there are better Agatha Christie's, but it's definitely one of my favorites. So, yeah. Treachery and Death. Oh, this is hard too, because I would put it, I'm going to take it out of true top 5, but for now I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to put it in there temporarily because it's so good. And it's the best, I think, in this series. And I love that as a police procedural series, so maybe. Black Sun is another one from a fantasy perspective that maybe I would choose as the best. No, I take that back. I know which one I would choose over it. Okay, so I'm going to say it's a true 5-star, one of my all-time favorite books. I love that book. It is epic or like high fantasy set in a non-European setting, which is always exciting because there's more of it recently, but historically there's not been as much, so it still feels very fresh when we move outside of basic bitch medieval fantasy. Speaking of basic bitch medieval fantasy that I would put in the true top 5 stars is The Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, which is one of my all-time favorite books and a masterpiece. And but if I'm talking about best, is it the best? Because there's 3 Robin Hobbs on here. There's The Mad Ship, The Golden Fool, and Fool's Assassin. Ay. The Mad Ship is my favorite, but I think if I'm being honest in terms of best, probably The Golden Fool is the best of those 3. That hurts. That hurts to say. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to put Fool's Assassin and Mad Ship. I'm being brutal here. I'm going to put those as true 5 stars, but not the top. Austen Playbook by Lucy Foley. Or Lucy Parker. Not Lucy. Definitely not Lucy Foley. Lucy Parker. I think this should have been 4.5 stars. I do still really like this contemporary romance, but I don't think about it, and it took me a second to remember which one it was. So that tells you it should be 4.5 and not a 5. All Systems Red by Martha Wells. I might surprise you. I'm not going to say it's the best, but it is definitely a 5-star. It's one that I love and recommend, but I get it's not for everyone. And I think novellas in general are not for everyone in terms of the way that they do what they do. So, okay. Here's one of, actually, you know what? Should we just address these? In terms of nonfiction, Black Reconstruction in America and White Trash are the two that I would put above Stamped from the Beginning. All of them are directly dealing with the history of race and racism. And I think I gotta go with the classic. Like, I think Black Reconstruction in America is one of the best books I've ever read, even aside from me enjoying it and finding it edifying. W.E.B. Du Bois is such a great writer. Like, it's a beautifully written piece of nonfiction. And it is a tough read. It is an incredibly rewarding read. And I think it's one of the best books I've ever read in terms of quality. So I really love White Trash. I should, because that's my family. We grew up in the mountains without electricity. True story. Way to go, parents, for bootstrapping it. Anyway, so White Trash is a really well done history, and I think it's a really important history to understand our current historical moment. But it's not a classic in the same way, so I'm gonna have to give it up to old W.E.B. Okay. Now you know what? Maybe we can start dealing with some of these in genres. Wait for it, The Love Hypothesis, Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and A Princess in Theory. All four of these are contemporary romances. All four of these, I stand by my 5-star rating. But if I were gonna only pick one of them as the best, I would not pick the Mariana Zapata or Allie Hazelwood, though I love them, because they are purposely kind of campy, fan fiction-y in their tone. It's really between Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and A Princess in Theory. And if I were gonna recommend, you know what, here's the decider. I'm gonna say I probably like Take a Hint, Dani Brown better, but if I were gonna, in terms of quality, I think A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole is one of the best romances I've ever read. I think it does what romance is supposed to do so well. It has good, it's so good. So we'll put it in contention. You notice that we're already over 5, so we're gonna have to do some very difficult decision making here at some point. Okay, The Fixer by Jennifer, oh actually, do we have other, let's do some YA middle grade stuff. You can see that I'm now like, we should just start doing these by grouping so that we can get through these. Okay, so Las Quintista, The Fixer, or let's put the two speculative ones together. The two speculative ones are Percy Jackson, The Last Olympian, and The Last Quintista. Both of these are two of the best books I've ever read, so I stand by that both of them are 5-star. I'm trying to decide if they... This is so hard. I self-imposed this challenge, but it's so hard because I think that they're both so excellent in terms of what they are. They're both middle grade fantasy, one's middle grade fantasy, one's middle grade sci-fi. Okay, I think The Last Quintista's ending is inferior. So for that reason, but Percy Jackson is the 5th in a series. Am I really, okay. Again, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I'm going to put it in contention. And then The Fixer, I think, is probably more like a 4.5, to be honest. I don't think that ended up being a 5-star as time has gone on. But I think about how to be a body in the world all the time. I think that book is beautiful and, again, incredibly prescient for our current moment, or like, not prescient, but like relevant for our current moment. So good. It's YA, but like everyone should read it. It's so good. Okay, so then what else do we got still here on the docket? Oh, we have 2 other romance speculative things that I forgot. So White Hot and Wildfire. These are 2 Alona Andrews books. They are definitely both still 5 stars. And I'm tempted to put Wildfire in my top 5, but I don't think it's the 3rd in a series. And I don't... It's like, are these what I'm recommending or the best? It hurts me to say, but I don't think that either of these books is as good as the ones that I currently have up there. So for that reason, I'm going to say that it's a true top 5, but it's not. Or it's a true 5-star, but it's not a top 5. Mystery-wise, we got Last Devil to Die, The Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels, Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Anything else in mystery left? No. Ay. Oh, God. Okay, the last... if I'm talking about quality, okay, if I'm talking about best book, I think The Last Devil to Die is, as a mystery, not as good as the other two. Wrong Place, Wrong Time, or Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels. I'm going to put them both because I honestly don't know right now and I need time to consider that. I'm delaying the inevitable, but I think one of them probably should go in my top 5 and I don't know which. And actually, you know what? That's clarifying because I think if one of those goes in, then I think Treachery and Death should come out. So we're also eliminating here. And I probably should move these down so I have more room. Okay. So then, well, nope, that will not work. I guess I can't just make it bigger. That's not going to happen. So, okay, we'll move this like that. So then other things, let's do nonfiction now. How Jesus Became God, which is a religious history book. Know My Name is a memoir. Freedom is a Constant Struggle is philosophy. The Uninhabitable Earth is a science book about climate change. No Visible Bruises is a sort of sociological reportage book about domestic violence or intimate partner violence. Hunger is a memoir. Eichmann in Jerusalem is it's reportage at a historical moment, and Fundamentalism in American Culture is a history of religion. So I think fundamentalism in American culture, it's hard because did it form me? Was this a very formative book to me? And like the ideas in it, were they incredibly, did they change who I am in some way? Yes, but I don't know that the book itself is a 4.5. So I'm going to put that there. The 5, I'm going to keep How Jesus Became God at a 5 because I think that this helped me like synthesize a lot of things that I had been going through in my deconstructive and reconstructive journey. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. One of the best memoirs I've ever read. Like, God, that it's just so well written and also devastating. Oh, Eloquent Rage. That's another memoir. And actually, you know what? I think this is more like a 4.5. As time has gone on, I don't think about that one as much. Hunger, I still think about all the time. And it probably should be in contention, I think, for the top 5. I think the other 3 are true 5 stars, but should not be top 5. And then Eichmann in Jerusalem, I also think should be in contention. Because that book, again, both very formative, and then as a book, it is so good. So there you go. Okay, fiction. Her Body and Other Parties. I still think that this is a 5-star, but I don't think it's... It is extremely high quality. No, okay. And also now that we've gone through more of these, I think I'm more comfortable taking these first 2 and putting them down here now that we've really assessed the candidate pool. So I'm going to put those down there. Heartstone, I don't think should go in the top 5. Tenet at Wildfell Hall. You know, this is interesting because quality-wise, this is absolutely one of the best books on this entire list. But I don't think I like it as much as I did when I first read it. So actually, I'm going to put it at probs more like a 4.5. Like, it didn't stick with me the way I thought it might. But I would say excellent and highly recommend, especially as a place to start with classics. I would add this one now to my list. And then the last one is the one that I created an entire category for, and this is Breathe by Kristen Ashley, because honestly, what the fuck was I thinking? I have no idea why I thought that was a 5-star. The fact that this book is in the same list as Black Reconstruction in America is an embarrassment. I don't know what I was thinking. Now, did I like it? Was it to my taste for contemporary romance? Yes. But girl, I have no idea what I was thinking. That should have been a 4-star at best. So, or maybe 4.5. Maybe it was a favorite of that year. Okay. Whew. So through some hard decision making, we have culled the list down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books. That means we gotta get rid of 4. Okay. Things that have to stay, things that I know for sure I want to keep are Black Reconstruction in America, The Golden Fool, and Eichmann in Jerusalem. And for that reason, since there's already so much nonfiction represented here, I'm going to kick out Hunger. Not because it doesn't deserve to be there, but just simply through trying to have a slightly more balanced list. I will say nonfiction is one 5-star audit note here. Nonfiction is overrepresented in this list relative to my overall rating, and that is because I'm very good at picking out nonfiction that I'm really going to like. And if I make the time to read it, it usually is a good book. So I think it's just easier for me to give 5 stars to nonfiction because they also tend to be more impactful. But that is a 5-star audit note. So I've got 5 books and only 2 slots. And this is devastating. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't want to get rid of any of these. Okay, best. What are the best books? For the sole reason that it is a 5th in a series, I'm going to kick out Percy Jackson, even though I think it is one of the best middle grade fantasies I've ever read. I feel like I have to pick at least one mystery, so between A Princess in Theory and A Heart and a Body in the World, which of these two? I think it is more impressive how good A Princess in Theory is in terms of genre, so it's going to win between those two, even though I am devastated. All of these there's so many of these I would love to put as my top 5. So now, which of these 2 mysteries would I say? See, okay, and here's where some of the recency bias comes in. Do I have recency bias with The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels? Because it's the book I've read within the last year. I just think it's so impressive at what it does. Like, but then Wrong Place, Wrong Time has a time loop, and that's also both of these are so impressive in terms of genre fiction that goes above and beyond in terms of its form. They're both incredibly impressive. So I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to think which of these 2 I've gotten more. I will say, I have had people, okay, here's my deciding factor. I have had people read Wrong Place, Wrong Time on my recommendation. I've heard from a few people that they didn't love it. I have yet to hear anybody who read The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels on my recommendation not love it. So for that reason, I'm going to say, in terms of which of these 2 would I recommend to a mystery lover, I'm going to give them The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels over Wrong Place, Wrong Time. And that just feels so wrong in some ways. Wrong place, wrong time. But it's a fact. And so these, I guess, are by default my top 5. So we've got The Golden Fool by Robin Hobb. Actually, let's zoom in here. The Golden Fool by Robin Hobb, Black Reconstruction in America by W.E.B. Du Bois. We've got Eichmann in Jerusalem by Hannah Arendt, and A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole, The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. We've got 4 women, 1 man. Oh, hi, somebody's delivering something to me. We've got a fantasy, we've got 2 nonfiction, a romance, and a mystery. So that feels good in terms of balancing in terms of what I read. Overrepresentation for nonfiction, like I said, but that is just the way of things, because I think in looking at all these, I have a lot of highly rated nonfiction things. Okay, this feels like, I mean, I have some trepidation, but it feels like a good list. And looking at this, I think this is actually pretty representative of what I read. Like, if there's a smattering of YA and middle grade, there's, you know, nonfiction, there's a lot of mystery, there's some romance, there's some fantasy, a little sci-fi, and then a soupçon of general fiction. So I think this is pretty representative. And that was hard, guys, but I did it for you. I hope you're happy. Okay, let's stop sharing. And now you're back in full screen, and I'm sorry that you're at this weird angle, but like I said, the gimbal freaked out mid recording. And we're all making our technical difficulties work here. So those are my top 5 best books I've read since being on Booktube. I feel good about saying that. So if you're wondering what the best of the best is on this channel, those are those 5 books. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Feeling awkward because I'm tilted so much. Like if you like this video, hit the bell if you want to know when I post again. I think I'm posting again on, oh yeah, my Goodreads vlog will be up this weekend. Who is she posting so much again? And yeah, let me know what you thought about any of these books. Clearly, you know I like them. Have you read and loved them, read and hated them? Let me know in the comments below. And until I talk to you again, take care of each other and be well.